To start out, I'm going to create a spiral path around my coffee mug. To start that, I'm going to go to a top view as I've already done. I'm going to select the top plane, and I'm going to start a sketch on this plane. I'm going to grab my circle tool, start at the origin, and come out quite a ways. For a mug this size, I'm going to actually go ahead and smart dimension this at about 12 inches, or essentially 4 times the diameter of the mug, pretty close to it. That's fine. I'm going to exit my sketch. For this next step, I'm actually going to switch and look at my mug in an isometric view. My circle goes around. I want to turn my circle into a spiral. Here's how I do that. I'm going to go to Features. I'm going to come all the way over to Curves. When I drop Curves down, at the very bottom, it says Helix and Spiral. I'm going to select that. It wants me to select a planar face or a sketch or something like that. This is where I click my circle. I have some settings now. We do want it to be a constant pitch. It asks us how many revolutions we want, and it also gives us a start angle. If you'll notice, the start angle should be in line with the front view of this. I'm going to have my revolutions go up and be 2. The pitch is the height between those revolutions. I want to be able to look into my mug some, but I don't want to be this far above it. I'm going to have each one of my pitches be 3 inches. What that's going to do is have my start and end points 6 inches above each other, because each time we come around, we go up 3 inches. Once I've done that, so my pitch is at 3 inches, 2 revolutions, don't have to change the start angle, and I'm going to leave it as clockwise, and that creates my spiral. It actually turns my circle into this spiral path. Next, I'm going to right-click down where it says Motion Study and create New Motion Study. Because I already had one, now I have a new one. My next step is in this menu here where it says Lights, Cameras, and Scene. I'm going to right-click there and say Add Camera. This is going to split my screen. On the right-hand side, I have the camera view, or what it sees. On the left-hand side, I have the project window where I can position and zoom and adjust this camera. The first thing it wants to know is a target point, because with the entire time the camera spends aimed at the target. So I'm going to zoom in, and in the target point is this red dot here. I'm going to move it somewhere kind of more interior of the mug. To do a really good job, I'm going to click and look at it from a top view, zoom in, and try to move the red point above the origin, which now is showing as blue. This point is now in the center of my mug, about halfway down, which is fine. The next one, or when I click here, it says Position by Selection. So I'm going to go to the starting point. In my case, I'm going to pick the highest point on my spiral. Getting a weird little visual glitch here. But essentially, I'm going to click it onto the top of my spiral. You can see even after the visual glitch, it's there on the edge. We don't want to put it on the point because then it won't move. We want it on the edge, so it'll follow that along. Now, as you can see in the camera view, it's zoomed in quite a bit. So I'm going to come over here and I'm going to move this zoom so that I get a nice zoom. Now, since I started with a spiral, I'm going to stay consistent in my distance to the mug. What's going to change is my angle of view. So I can go ahead and set this up so I have quite a bit of the mug taking up a lot of the space. If I was to use a different style of profile, like a spline or something like that, I might have to start with it zoomed quite out. This is my initial setup. If you've done other animating before, you'll notice that, oh, I'm sorry, my point moved. I'm going to put that back. And again, zoom it out slightly. If you've done animations before, you'll see this timeline here. And what I can now do, that I've set that up, is now I can take I'm going to drop this down so I can see everything. I'm going to accept my camera, so I'm seeing it from its perspective. Okay, and I am going to now go to about 10 seconds from now. Much shorter than that, and this animation will likely make whoever's watching it kind of seasick. I'm going to go ahead then and right click on camera 1 right here and say properties. You'll notice that it is on my edge and it is looking where it needs to look. Sorry, it's come off my edge some. I'm going to fit, oh, sorry. There, now it's back attached to my edge. I'll go ahead and fix my zoom. I know it's looking at the top of it, but it'll come down. And I'm going to accept that. And I messed it up. So I'm going to click on that key point, push delete on my keyboard, because I did that out here at 10 seconds, and any changes I make become the new normal. So I'm going to edit my properties here. We're going to change this back to being on the edge. Fix my zoom. Also point it down a little bit at the mug. Verify it from the top that it's about centered. So as you can see, this is not necessarily an easy process. I'm going to go ahead and accept that. Okay. And as I said before, then I'm going to move to 10 seconds. I'm going to right click on it, go back to properties, takes me back to where it was. Now instead of putting it on the edge at the top there, I'm going to click down here and I'm going to put it near the bottom edge. So now it's kind of pointed up at it. You can see what it looks like here. I'm not really going to make any other changes other than that location. I'm going to hit accept. Now with this in camera view, I'm going to come back to the beginning, click camera view. I'm going to go ahead and click play, and you can see that it basically, the camera follows the spiral downward. So I can get a view of the entire mug. Okay. Now we have the spiral in the way. We don't really like the way that looks. So I'm going to right click it in the feature tree and click hide. So I don't see the actual spiral while it's going around. I can click this button to play it back from the beginning, but for some reason it likes to jump back into model view. So I'm going to put it back at the beginning, go to camera view, and hit play again. Now you can see it without the spiral in the way.